Welcome and hello from Alex, with a story from r/TalesFrom Mix, where a retail worker deals with a customer who tries to exploit a loophole with some surprising tactics. Coming up next is a story from AdrielBast. I don't have an ID, so I'm going to use his. Working in retail, y'all know you're gonna get some dumb encounters, and I think this one takes first places out of my last 3 shifts. Regular came in. As soon as she's at the counter she went, "I don't have an ID on me, I want Marlboro Lights." "I can't sell without an ID, I tell her as such. She's a regular, she knows the rules, she tries to argue, and I repeat that I can't sell and wave over the next customer. Lady grumbles, starts to stalk away before turning to the customer I was helping, "You got an ID on you?" He didn't respond, didn't hear her, asks for a few cans of chew and she stalks back to her car. As I am ringing his stuff up, punching in his ID for the tobacco, she comes back over. The guy hasn't even left yet, still pocketing his things when she repeats that she wants her smokes. I do what you do and ask if she found her ID. And I kid you not, she pointed at the guy I had just finished up with and said she was gonna use his ID. Never mind that the guy never even said he'd loan her his ID. There are a whole bunch of reasons why I can't do that. I tell her no, point out that using someone else's ID is illegal, and she tries to argue again. I tell her no again, and she stalked off cursing up a storm. All the while the guy is just wide-eyed asking what just happened and confused as fuck over why she thought he was gonna give her his ID. That's some serious audacity on the regular's part. She clearly knew the rules but tried to bend them anyway. Then ropes an innocent customer into her scheme. Yikes, good on you for staying firm on the ID check, even with the pressure. Identity theft is no joke. And it sounds like you prevented a potential mess. The whole situation is equal parts frustrating and bizarre. Who thinks someone would just hand over their ID like that? The wide-eyed confusion of the other customer is the icing on the cake. Definitely a "can you believe it" moment for everyone involved. Glad you stuck to your guns and avoided a potentially sticky situation. Coming up next is a story from DankeVunterSlaush. "Ma'am, a reservation for today doesn't imply carte blanche access to our facilities starting at midnight. Sold out night, just after midnight. Everyone's in and I am wrapping up audit paperwork. I see a woman walking in with her suitcase. Her, checking in, last name. Me, wonderful, can I see an ID and the card you would like to use for verification purposes?" She happily provides both and I check our in-house reservations for her name. Nothing comes up. Check arrivals for the next business day and of course, there it is. I explain to her that her reservation is for the next night and apologize that we have nothing available to check her into right now. Her, "You do realize that I am going to have to sleep in the lobby, right?" Me, "I am more than happy to call around and find you alternate accommodations for tonight. I imagine that it'd be more comfortable." I awkwardly laugh and start dialing some of our neighboring properties. After about 5 minutes calling different places, I find one just a short distance that is willing to price match and hold the room until they run audit so they can sell out as well. I jot down their information and look up to find her laying on one of the sofas. I approach and explain to her what I have been able to find for her, explain where it is and how to find it, that they will even lower their rate to honor the rate that she had booked. We can go ahead and cancel her reservation here, with no penalty if that works for her. Her face drops and she asks how come I can't stay here. Me, "I am sorry, we don't have anything that I can check you into at this point in time, being that we have no vacancies." Her, "Okay, but I am a shiny member, I have a reservation for here, I can wait till check-in, just let me sleep in the lobby." Me, "I understand, and we will be more than happy to accommodate the reservation you have, should you wish to keep it, when a room opens up. We can also store your luggage and all, but in the interest of your safety and the enjoyment of other guests, I cannot let you sleep in the lobby." Her, "So let me get this straight, I made the reservation a little bit ago, I am paying to stay here, I have my reservation for today, but you're telling me to leave because I don't have a reservation for today. Does that make sense to you? Help me understand, because I don't think you're making much sense." Me, "Sure, so the business date and the calendar date are not the same thing. A hotel night starts at 4 p.m. That is when we begin taking check-ins for that night. I understand that you made a reservation for the earliest possible date, or what would be today's calendar date. Unfortunately, we're still operating for the night of the previous day, which would need a reservation for yesterday. Additionally, we don't have any rooms for you to check into anyway. It's an unfortunate scenario, but that is why I went through and secured alternative accommodations for tonight. If you are still looking to stay here tomorrow night, we can keep that other reservation, or we can cancel it at no cost." Her, "You don't care. I was just complaining about this earlier to a friend and she agreed the service has gone down majorly. All you guys care about is money and squeezing more and more and providing less. Me, once again, you have my sympathies for the situation at hand, and I am sorry you feel that way, but I am sure as a frequent guest for our brand, you wouldn't appreciate someone else commandeering our dining area to use as a makeshift bed. Her, you used to be able to book a room and they'd take care of the rest, and now I am being kicked out as a paying guest. Me, you are being asked to find alternative sleeping arrangements until the check-in time on the date of your reservation. I offered a solution in hand. You may take it or not, but there is nothing more I can do for you. Her, cancel my reservation and delete my shiny account. I never have been so poorly treated as a customer before in my life. She snatched a business card for the manager and the paper that had the name, number, and address of the other hotel as well as the quoted rate, matched rate, and my name before storming out. Wow, that guest sounds like a real handful. Good on you for staying calm and professional throughout the whole ordeal. It's never fun explaining the intricacies of hotel reservation dates, especially to someone who seems convinced they're already a resident. Finding alternate accommodations for her was definitely the move. Who wants to spend the night on a lobby couch? Her whole shiny member spiel felt a bit entitled. You went above and beyond to find her a solution. The whole used to be better thing is a classic complaint, but things change. And sometimes reservations need a little clarification. Hopefully, she cools down and realizes the alternative hotel was a good option. Sounds like you dodged a bullet there with that cancelled reservation. Definitely a story for the break room. Coming up next is a story from xTheatreTechie, and if you like the video so far, don't forget to like the video. It only takes a second and helps me out a lot. Starship Troopers mishap. About 2 months back, I'm sitting at my desk when my boss comes to talk to me. We're shooting the shit talking about the Windows 11 update we're going to be pushing to our users, as they are currently on Windows 10. Finally, he tells me he wants me to shoot some training videos, and I joked I should shoot them in the style of Starship Troopers. We joke and talk about how I'm going to shoot them, and we're just throwing ideas out for a solid 10 minutes joking around about these videos. We're laughing hard just shooting the shit. Finally, I get back to work. A week later, he comes by and asks how those Starship videos were coming along. To which I asked, oh, you were serious. I then spent the next 2 months on and off shooting videos in the style of Starship Troopers introducing Windows 11 to my users. We released them last week and I was pretty proud of it since I did the entire thing myself and got to learn about a video editing software I'd never used before, had never done before. While the videos were a pretty big hit, I talked in a deep voice the entire time. I Starshipified the script. It was over the top patriotic. I also work for my local government, so I also used my government seal throughout the videos. I put in background patriotic music that was free licensing. It took off on Friday, and we released a video each day for the next 3 days. My users really loved the videos and weren't expecting the Starship Troopers references, and so they started talking amongst each other, and unknown to me they decided to watch the movies since enough of them reminisced about it. Today one of my users came to talk to me about how she could only watch the first 20 minutes. She talked to me about the drug use and the police, and it took a few minutes, but finally I understood she had watched Super Troopers, whose opening scene is a shit ton of drug use and features a lot of over-the-top shenanigans. After setting her straight and us both laughing, she decided to give Starship Troopers a shot. That's hilarious. Sounds like your boss has a great sense of humor, turning a casual joke into a 2-month project. Good on you for taking it and running with it. The deep voice, patriotic music, the whole Starship Troopers treatment, I imagine those videos were epic. And who knew it would spark a movie marathon amongst your users? The Super Troopers mix-up is the cherry on top. Classic case of mistaken identity, but at least it led your user to the right movie in the end. All in all, a win for creativity, user engagement, and maybe even a little inter-office bonding over cheesy sci-fi action flicks. Coming up next is a story from Coach 8000. The baby shower. Had an older lady come in this morning right at open and say she was there for the baby shower and asked where they were. I didn't see anything on the calendar for a reservation, but she was insistent, so I called my general manager. He said it was booked for next weekend, not today. I relayed that to the lady, and she was insistent. Cool. I made up a reserved sign and blocked off a room and told her it was good. She went outside to call some people. Of course, while she was outside, people wanted to sit in that area because of course they did. No one could possibly want to sit in the rest of the establishment, right? Suddenly I see the older lady just get in her car and drive off. Then the phone rings and it's a very apologetic lady saying her elderly aunt got weekends mixed up and she's very sorry if she was rude. And that was the first 30 minutes of my shift. This is why we drink. Sounds like a roller coaster of a morning. On the one hand, you've got to give it to the older lady for persistence, even if it was misplaced, but then disappearing after you bent over backwards to accommodate her. Wild. At least the apologetic niece redeemed things a bit. Definitely a story that makes you appreciate a good cup of something strong at the end of a shift. Coming up next is a story from Sorceress 683. Airline passenger who always gets extra random checks and more. I fly, so I guess that makes me a customer. I am a very unassuming person with an odd last name. Maybe that's why I am always getting random checks. I swear, more and more every time. The last time was a doozy, though. I got pulled aside after the body scan because of an anomaly on my leg. Apparently, the scanner had detected an abnormal mass on my leg that required them to inspect my leg. Fortunately, I was wearing loose pants, as I did not want to go to a secure room to take off my pants. Turns out, their machine detected a tumor on my leg. Fortunately, I already know about it and that it was benign. Only time that ever happened. Whoa, that's some next-level security check. Imagine the panic if you didn't already know about the bump. On the one hand, good on security for being thorough, but man, that's a situation ripe for embarrassment, and maybe a lawsuit if they were too forceful about the private inspection. Definitely a story OP won't forget anytime soon. Hopefully, the extra checks ease up a bit in the future, though, with a name like that. That wraps up the r/Tales from Mix. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to visit my Spotify channel, link is in the description, so you can listen to the best Reddit story while being outside, and remember to hit that subscribe button.